Hello, good morning. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to Whale Members. This is our inaugural program here, but just give you a little bit of information here. Whale is the leading omniversal membership club for the digitally native, empowering creators and collectors through innovative programs, unparalleled access to digital assets such as our Whale Vault, and a vibrant community driving the future of Web3 art and culture. Thank you all for joining in. Like I said, this is the inaugural episode of this program, Creator Toolbox. And this is a new series that we're using to curate and spotlight platforms who are building for artists and creators and creating these kind of groundbreaking tools that we need to advance digital art, digital creations, and really explore what that means beyond what we've thought about it. What are we not thinking about? And these builders are the folks who are doing that thinking for us. They're developing new tools, and they are listening to the artists and creators, which I think is really important. So thank you, Zoop, for joining us, and Buildtree, agreeing to be our inaugural guests here and being kind of the guinea pig. It's really great to have you here. Zoop, we've met at NFT NYC in person.
Mhm.
That was a really fantastic time just to kind of sit over a small bite, chat, get to know you a little bit more. And you've been a regular asset to the whale community. I think, you've been frequently here, um, talking about the whale vault, really
Mhm.
helping us understand the value behind some of the works in it, but then also looking at the general market behavior, the macro trends, the micro trends. What are people thinking? What are the signs of success when it comes to one project versus another? And maybe what are the signs of failure? So you've got an incredible insight, from that high level, and this kind of more small, more intimate level. And that's just kind of made it, the perfect first place to start here with this series, right? So it's great to have you here. Thank you for being here.
Thanks. Thank you for the invitation. Actually, it's always a pleasure to be here. I must confess, like I think I'm a quite regular guest from a well community, and as you said, I think that I've actually been there since the really early beginning of the well community. I mean, we started to talk with Whale Shark before the
Mm,
well community actually existed, and yeah, I've been doing a lot of things in that space, and actually, I've been doing a lot of things with the web community as well. Starting with portfolio evaluation, then a couple of market research, what we call the market pulse, that we keep doing with the rest of the team. And now, as I joined NFT Studios almost a year ago, yeah,
mm.
now I'm really happy to tell you more about what we've been cooking to support artists.
Yeah. Okay. So that's great. Um, for those of us who don't know you as well as I know you, or have tuned in before to these market pulse segments, um, can you just give us a brief intro? Tell us a little bit about yourself, and maybe just a little bit about NFT Studios since you mentioned it, and just kind of how that's linked to you, and then just how did you get involved with Buildtree?
Sure. Yeah, actually, as I said, I've been doing a lot of different things over the past years. So my background is more into like consulting. I've been doing strategic consulting for about a decade. And then in 2017, I've heard about something called NFTs, and I was like, gosh, I should stop everything and focus on that. And that's more or less what I've been doing. So I've created the first market research company about Web3 and NFTs at that time. It was called nonfungible.com. And I've been developing this market research activity during a lot of reports. So I have a couple of them here and there. So I've been publishing like a dozen of reports, like physical one, a lot of market research for big brands like LVMH, Warner Brothers, and so on. And over time, I've been basically getting back to my let's say, building philosophy, because it's cool to observe, to look at the market and to explain what's going on. But at some point, I really needed to get back to building something. So
Yeah.
that's why, as we've been talking with Leandro, with a friend since 2018, and with one of the chief partners of the web community, we've been talking around like how we could work together, and they started working on Buildtree. And of course, I will explain what it is right after. But we just joined forces in, okay, you know the market, you have a crazy firepower in terms of developing stuff. So let's just join forces and help the artists grow with us.
Wow, that's great. And Buildtree has been kind of I know that it's launched recently. You've got a number of projects that are already out there and being tested, but I feel like it's been cooking for a little while now, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, they started working on that like almost 2 years ago. I joined
Wow.
1 year ago, and it's been almost 2 years because just to give you a little bit of context around Buildtree. So historically, NFT Studios have been supporting a lot of artists like from Sax, Akatao, and Pack, but more on like really custom projects, something super in depth, super on demand. But over time, as the market changed and they basically decided to propose something more like a SaaS product. But moving from something super custom where you have all the technology to something where everyone will be able to use it for free, it's a different story. So they are like 1 full year of complete like back end, backstage story that no one really heard about during that time. And now, after almost 2 years of development, the product is ready.
That's a really great point. The accessibility factor here, making it free. You know, what was the thinking behind that? And do you see that being sustainable?
Um, that's actually both are related. So the thinking behind that, beyond Buildtree, was precisely that the market changed. All of the really big guys I've mentioned, like Pack, Akato, and so on, if you look at that, they don't drop that much for now. And we have a lot of a new generation that is actually more active, and a lot of Web2 artists that are basically entering the space just because it's a new medium, it's a
Mm.
new space to explore. So Buildtree is basically meant to move from these like, let's say, superstars of Web3, and we obviously keep working with them to make something accessible to the mainstream, to let them on board Web3 in a super easy way for free without taking any risk. So it's a different approach of moving to from the big guys to everyone in a more, let's say, accessible way.
Yeah, I don't want to call it like a reverse scaling or anything like that, but um, I guess I really appreciate that you were able to target some artists that were very well known and established, get them to see what tools you were working with. I'm sure ask them what they're looking for and what they need to accomplish their creative projects, and just really demonstrate success on that high level. Whereas I think quite often we think like, okay, let's find some testers who aren't going to care about little bugs here or there,
Yeah.
and scale up and try and attract that attention. But
Mhm.
this seems to be where NFT studios and yourself probably already have those connections built up, right? So just to leverage those right off the bat is just a great place to start.
Yeah, actually, we've been quite lucky because, we've been doing that from a purely organic way where, let's be honest, we made friends. I mean, most of these people became friends over time. So we've been able to start basically talking with them in a casual way. And at some point, we're like, okay, I would like to create something with you guys. And we partnered with them. I mean, some of them are real actual friends now. And we
Mm.
started with this like rock stars, and now we aim to target the main audience was mainstream. And that's funny, as you said, because most platforms try to start with, small artists here and there, and at some point maybe target one of these super rock stars. In our case, we knew what they wanted because they've been extremely clear and transparent. It's really like we have co-created the minting
Mm.
process for these guys. Now that we have the technology, we have the knowledge of what they need, and we've been spending, I mean, on NFT Studio side and just on my side as well, for my market research, we've been talking with hundreds, maybe thousands of artists over the past 4 years. So what we've been cooking, Buildtree, is something that actually answer the artist needs because we know them.
That's, I mean, what a novel concept, right?
Yeah, right.
Serving an audience by knowing what they actually want, and
And
but
talking
we
to
don't
them.
see that, right? Yeah, we don't see that all the time, right? And I feel like something that we discuss in the whale community. And by the way, those who are watching, do check out the whale Discord. There's always a side
Mhm.
conversation happening right now simultaneously in our stream text channel. But the conversations that we have about Web3 in general, I think that they're going to continue to apply to the upcoming cycles. And quite often we see people who are building, but they're not asking these questions. It's more, it seems like, oh, I can do this, so I'm just going to do it without actually thinking about, does it need to be done? How should it be done? And am I the person who should be doing it, right? And let alone
Mhm.
who am I serving and what do they actually need? So that's great.
Absolutely. We've been lucky enough to avoid this step of doing a proof of concept, just an MVP that is quite bad, that we don't really know if it works, if it's a good fit for the audience, because I mean, not any company is able to spend like 4 years doing market research and talking to
Hmm.
artists and so on. I mean, it doesn't make any sense for a normal company. But as we've been doing that almost as a hobby on top of just doing our job, I mean, we actually knew, we got this knowledge. And now we are at a place where we are lucky enough to know what has to be done. And I would say the main question is not, should I do it? Is more like, should I do it now? Does it
Hmm.
make sense now? And is it going to make sense in 1 year from now? It's just like a temporary need.
Hmm.
That's a tough question too.
Oh, a great question, and I think that's something that we grapple with too. That time to market versus time in the market, right? When is the right time? People always are like, you know, they're not releasing anything during the bear, or these people are releasing during the bear. Um, you know, I'm not always sure what the right answer is, but hopefully you put some thought into it, right?
Yeah.
um, and I'm sure it shows.
Yeah, absolutely. But you never got the right answer right away. I mean, except if you are like a crazy genius and not even sure. But I really see a good product as just as a diamond. I mean, you have to keep polishing it every single day. And we've been polishing our diamonds over the past 4 years. And every conversation you have with every artist, even someone that just tells you in 2 sentences, one really tiny feedback, that's something that participates in polishing this diamond.
Mm.
That's how I see the product.
Yeah, what a great analogy. Diamonds. Diamonds will always be something that resonates obviously with crypto, right? But the larger population in general, right?
Mhm.
So then why don't you to give us a little bit more specific idea about what Buildtree is, what its capabilities are, and you know, is there a specific target audience within that, or are you really just trying to broadly reach any sort of creator, versus a photographer or a digital painter or illustrator?
So, in a nutshell, what is Buildtree? That's actually the new generation of minting platform for artists.
Mm,
Right now, it's not meant only for photographers or AI artists or something like that. We are able to handle almost all the needs. It's just like a word meant mostly for authors or people that write articles. No, it's just a tool. You can do whatever you want with it. It's more or less the same for us. Buildtree is a smart contract factory. It's meant for anyone that has not the technical knowledge to create his own smart contract, but is willing to use some advanced features. So you don't need to be tech savvy to use Buildtree. So
Mm,
anyone that basically just knows what a wallet is able to use Buildtree. You don't even need to know exactly how a smart contract works. Everything is really meant for, I would say, the mainstream, but you need to have a wallet. Okay, you need to have a wallet to use Buildtree. That's the only one prerequisite.
mm.
Um, Now, the main difference with other platforms that exist on the market is that what you can access today, because Buildtree is live, is the V1, like I would say the backbone of Buildtree. What we are working on right now, what will be available in the next few months, is something we call the modular economy, where on top of Buildtree itself, you will have a infinite number of modules that you can basically plug in your drop to create something a little more interactive, a little more funny, a little more like living than just like clicking on a button to mint. That's something that we consider is the future of minting platform.
And are these modules, are they coming directly from ideas that artists and creators are asking you for? Do you guys have an internal team that's just sitting down and brainstorming on these things and just seeing what you can build? You know, what's driving this direction?
That's a good question. It's a mix of both. So we will kick off that with the features we already developed. So over the past 4 years, 6 years, sorry, we've been developing a lot of features for different artists. So like learn to redeem, composable NFTs, things with conditions. So all of that is something we already
Mm,
developed. We have the tech. So that will be proposed as modules, as some sort of an initial set. But based on that, we will basically open the doors for artists to suggest new features, to suggest new modules, new ways to interact with NFTs and with their drop. And sorry, in front of that, we will have a network of developers that will handle all these new needs. So I will show you, if you want, in just a minute, how this modular economy is going to work. But we thought of something that will be sustainable for artists, for developers, and for the platform itself. We have imagined a system that could basically be alive for the next 100 years. It doesn't only depend on us, it depends on a complete ecosystem.
right, right. Okay. And I've just pulled up the Buildtree site just so that people can get a little
Mhm.
look at it. Before you go into it. And I will say too, you know, the folks in the Discord are asking some questions, so I'm going to start collecting those, and we
Sure.
can make sure to cover those. But uh, this economy, you know, I'm very intrigued by it because uh, obviously with crypto, we're most of us are here, I think, you know, with some sort of financial motivation. It could
Mhm.
be personal gains. It could be the bankless or the unbanked. It could be just the operational logistics and supplies uh, that we have to deal with in our day-to-day jobs that we could just see where the benefit comes from. So I'm very curious. You know, what was your thinking behind developing an economy? Is this something that you feel is going to be you know, based around a token? Is a token even necessary? Or, you know, how are you defining this concept of an economy?
Mhm. Um, we consider Buildtree as a living thing. So
Mm,
if we just create a product and we, from time to time, add new features to it, that remains I would say, a dead thing that we add stuff on that thing. If we want this to be alive, it needs to be able to be autonomous without us in a certain measure. So this is why we consider this as an economy, as an ecosystem, more than just a product. Of course, it's a product, but it's a product uh, that will keep moving thanks to its users. If you, I think that the best example that we talk to everyone is WordPress. If you've ever used WordPress, WordPress is cool not only because of WordPress, it's cool because of the thousands of modules you can implement in just a couple of clicks for free. If you need a template, if you need a brand new, I don't know, something, it's more than possible that you will find the feature you need for free. And that's basically something that is not under WordPress management, is because there's a vibrant community around that keep this product alive.
Right, right. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so that makes sense. And I I guess I'll ask real quick, before we get
Mhm.
too deep. Someone had asked in the chat just kind of what chains you service, and just kind of to tie into that, do you see yourself as an omni-chain platform? Are you looking to kind of serve all communities? Is that kind of in the longer term thought process, or are you really focused on very particular, networks and ecosystems?
Now, we are as open as it's possible to be open at this stage. Right now, we support 12 different networks. If I'm not mistaken, we are the most open-minded platform on the market. So, of course, we started with where we started, which is basically Ethereum. So we support Ethereum layer one. Basically, almost all the layer twos you can imagine. I'm quite sure that you don't know all the layer twos we support, because there's a lot of layers too that we had to support for different reasons. And right now we are considering as well supporting Solana. We don't support Solana yet. You have Flow here. We obviously support Shape. We support
Hmm.
Polygon, Base, Arbitrum. I don't think we have Avalanche yet. That's something we'll be adding soon.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, I believe this one's on base, if I remember right. Yeah.
this one is
Or no, maybe Ethereum mainnet. Ethereum
no,
mainnet.
it's Ethereum mainnet. Yeah.
Yep,
The
yep.
cult is on
Right
mainnet,
here.
of course.
Yep.
But yeah, on the other end, we are considering to implement Solana as soon as possible, and
Hmm.
maybe we'd like to add ordinals, but to be honest, ordinals is a different kind of a beast, because it's a complete different language, complete different ecosystem. So that's almost as complex as adding 12 layer 2.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, so that's great. I mean, it just seems like there is this theme that you guys are, looking at accessibility from many different angles, financially, technically, knowledge-wise. How savvy is somebody in crypto? What do they need to know in order to get on board? And then just the ecosystems, right? If anything, I expect, I'm sure you expect, that the ecosystems are just going to continue to proliferate, right? And there's just going to be
Yeah,
more and more options, and almost this modular concept of what blockchain is just becomes more of a universal thought, um,
absolutely.
right? Right. So yeah, go ahead.
It, no, it's really, I mean, Buildtree is really meant for everyone to drop everything everywhere. You don't need to be like married to Ethereum or married to Base or anything like that. And you can basically have your first drop on Base and then move to Shape. And then if there is a new layer two or any new chain that we will add, you can basically move to any chain you want. And something I will
Mm,
show you after, but there is a really cool feature that allows you to duplicate a project. If you want to start your initial project on Base and you drop it on Base, it's all good. Then you want to create a copy of or a second version of this one, you can duplicate a drop from a chain to another one in just 2
mm.
clicks.
Wow. Wow.
So
Well, all right. So maybe on that, do you want to dive into, tell
yeah,
us, a little bit more granular detail here? Let me pull up your screen.
yeah, please.
Um, and you should have control over it. But yeah, let's go a
Mhm.
little bit deeper. And I want to know, like, you know, again, like, what is Buildtree? What has it done? What are these new and innovative things that you guys have identified and are building for?
Sure, I'd love to. So, where to start? Let me see. So, I've already told you a bit of things around the context around Buildtree. So, you know that we've initially started working with some of the rock stars. We developed a lot of really cool and advanced features for them. Now that we have the tech, the baseline, the DNA of Buildtree is to make all this technology accessible to everyone for free. Because once we have a tech, now it's just about like making that accessible to the mainstream. Um, I will just go really fast on this because there's a couple of obvious things for the web community. But if you start as an artist in Web3 and you really are completely new, you will realize that creating something custom costs a lot of money. You will need months and months to get your smart contract done. If you want to get things right and get an audit of your code, you have to spend extra money. If you are not lucky, you might not find the right developers and get scammed. That's
Mm,
something that happens too.
yep.
And something as well, which is really interesting, is that a lot of artists, when they enter this space, they're like, okay, so I can create a page where I have a button, I click on mint, and that's it. And my art is delivered. But it's not that simple. You may think about some really advanced mechanism, but for that, you need to have some knowledge or at least some ideas of what you can do with a smart contract. And most artists they just don't know. Not
Mm,
because they are stupid or dumb or something like that, just because it requires time to know exactly what you can do, what is technically possible or not. So that's something we would like to tackle as well with Buildtree to let people think a little more out of the box. Just like me, you know that there are no more passive income in the space due to our friends. I will not mention them, but yeah, there's a marketplace that actually killed royalties. So we thought
yeah.
of a way to reintroduce passive income. I will explain exactly how it works right after. And one last point that happened really recently, if you've heard about what happened to Async Art or Non-Origin and others,
Yeah,
these
very sad.
places, yeah, they used to pay for the storage of the art. So it means that when Non-Origin collapses, and as they used to pay for the storage, they will stop paying for the storage at some point. So it's completely possible that most of the art created and stored on Origin will end as an empty shell without any artwork into it. That's another issue we will solve with Buildtree. We consider ourselves as the first collapse-proof platform. Whatever happens to Buildtree in the next 5, 10, 20 years, your art will never be in danger. Your
Mm,
art will not collapse with a potential collapse of Buildtree, which is completely new.
wow. Wow. No, that's huge. I mean, uh, I worry about the number of people who don't know about that aspect of things here, and
Mhm.
and async art is such a great example there. Great platform, but just wasn't able to make it through the bear. And what
Yeah.
happens to all that fantastic art that was created for that platform? And now so many people who love that art have collected it, and then they expect that 5, 10, 20 years from now that they're still going to be able to show it to their friends, family, pass it on,
Mhm.
sell it, whatever they want to do with it, right? But there's real danger out there for a lot of art.
Absolutely, and it's a shame because it's a bit of a technical topic around how the art's actually stored, what is like PFS, that is a monthly or yearly subscription. I mean, you need to enter into this kind of details to realize that if a centralized institution pays for your storage, they may just stop because they are centralized. If it's completely decentralized, it's not one person's responsibility to keep everyone's art alive. That's basically the baseline, and that's the motto of Buildtree.
That's actually a really good point. I don't want to interrupt you too much, but
Oh, mhm.
do you see Buildtree as a centralized platform, decentralized platform? How do you guys view custody, in
Mhm.
general? Um, if an artist needs a wallet, does that imply that you know, that it is completely non-custodial and that everything is kind of in their ownership and control?
Yeah, we don't have anything custodial yet on Buildtree. We consider implementing some payment via fiat, via credit card down the road. It's not something we have yet, but at this point, maybe we'll have to consider some custodial aspects. Right
Yeah.
now, nothing is custodial. The smart contract is a sovereign smart contract owned by the wallet that created it. So we don't control the smart contract, first thing. And on the other end, the assets are not stored by Buildtree. We don't pay for the storage. So it's completely decentralized, which is a different approach because it means that the artist has more responsibility than ever
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. No, that is a great thing to highlight. Yeah. So please continue. Yeah.
No, thanks for the question. But I definitely prefer to have a conversation.
Yeah.
So yeah, in a nutshell, so Buildtree is, as I said, a no-code platform. You don't have to enter into anything like a terminal. You don't have to code anything. We will put you in touch with the right devs for your project. If you have any custom needs, something that is not available on the platform yet, we will put you in touch with the people, the technical guys or girls that will basically handle your technical needs. That's part of the value proposition. And last but not least, this lifetime passive income, there are two sides of that. The first one, I've mentioned modules. So to make it super simple, if you are an artist, you imagine a new ways to interact with a smart contract, with your NFTs, anything new and funny. You propose this feature to developers that will develop that for you. And if a module is really cool, other artists will be able to use it. And you will get a passive income from any drop using your features.
Well,
So we consider that an artist is not, and we call them creators, not exactly artists, because
yeah.
you can create art, but you can create ways to interact with art. You can create ways to drop art. So there's a lot of ways to create something on top of art itself. That's our
That is
vision.
a great point. I mean, to be honest, you know, in thinking of this show,
Mhm.
right, one thing we had started off with was artist toolbox, right? And just kind of talking about that, it was really clear, you know what? Yes, we have a huge community of artists in the whale Discord and the larger whale
Mhm.
members membership, but it doesn't just stop there, right? We have collectors, we have builders, we have people that are just interested in the tech and nothing else. But uh, you know, this idea of an artist seemed just like a little too constrained. So a creator's toolbox really was more apt, right, to kind of capture the larger space here that we're so lucky to have. This kind of really, you know, generally diverse group of people that participate in
Mhm.
Web3 and are looking to do different things or to help facilitate different things. So, great point.
Mm. Yeah, that's important to remember that these are just human beings that can do a lot of different things. They obviously create art, but on top of so many other skills they have. Some people create massive communities. That's something we will reward. Some people create new ways to drop, so they innovate. That's something we will reward too. So all the different aspects of what a creator is have to be rewarded.
Mm,
That's once again part of the philosophy we have. Um, so, as I said, it's not just a platform, it's an ecosystem. It's a complete, basically, economy around. So the platform, so Buildtree, that I'm going to show you in just a minute, is so more or less the tip of the iceberg. Um, Behind that, you have what we call the modular economy, which is this way for us to reward artists, developers, and all the people that may not have technical or artistic skill, but that have the willingness to support the economy and the different stakeholders. So we put in touch artists, developers, and crypto enthusiasts. That's as well part of the value proposition. And for
mm,
that, we will need some fuel. What is the fuel? That's a token. So,
Oh,
yeah, quite original, I know.
no, I was
But
not expecting actual tokens talk today. So this is cool. Little alpha here.
yeah. That's I mean, we haven't announced that publicly yet, but it's not a
Okay.
secret. But we definitely plan to have a token that will be the way to reward these different stakeholders. So the build token. So I cannot announce exactly when, but between Q1 and Q2 of this year, we will
Mm,
introduce this token. That will be this way to reward these different stakeholders. And any good behavior, anything that provides value to the ecosystem, to the art space, and to Buildtree will be rewarded with this token. So let me show you how this is going to work. Get ready. It's not as complex as it seems. So what do we got there? So that's more or less the tokenomics of the build token. It's honestly super simple. Let's start with the basics. You are an artist. As an artist, your goal is to get your job done cheap, fast, efficient. For that, you use what we call the pool of modules. So you know all the features that I've mentioned, like burn to redeem, composable NFTs, things like that, that we already developed, or some people developed, just like WordPress. You have your different modules and you plug them in if that makes sense for you. You use them, it's free, and the same catalog for everyone. You do your job, all good. We don't take a percentage, so the artist will receive 100% of the benefits of his job. We just add a small fee on top of every NFT, which is 0.008 ETH per NFT minted. So we add a small fee on top.
okay.
What you get there is what people used to pay. For example, if people pay with stable coins or ETH or whatever, you as an artist will receive this. Completely fine. But you can notice that there are two other sources of income on the left here and on the right. These two other sources of income are with build token. So let me start with the left one. It's, in my opinion, the most critical part. If you think about a feature that doesn't exist yet in Buildtree, for example, you'd like the metadata of your NFT to change depending on the price of Bitcoin.
Mm.
We will not have that day one, let's be honest. But why not?
Come on.
I know, right? So that's something you can basically ask developers to create for you. So you create a small bounty, and let's say the feature costs $3,000. We will ask the artist to pay for that 10% of that. We cover the rest of the fees. So every artist is responsible of this new request, new feature request, but we cover the bulk of the expenses. New feature developed, dev find this need interesting, it gets developed, and three of the devs will audit this new feature to ensure it's not malicious, it's all good, there's nothing wrong. It's been added to a pool of module. The artist can now use its brand new module. It's the first one to use its brand new module, super cool, and do his job. Worst case scenario, he is not selling out. The public is not really receptive. It's no huge deal. Because if any other artist thinks that this module is kind of cool and you would like to create something using this same feature, any drop using this feature will generate a passive income for the developers that crafted this module and for the artists that imagined this module in build token. So you can basically create one drop in your life. If you think about the best module ever, you could get a lifetime passive income from your single drop just because your module is absolutely mind-blowing.
Right. Oh, I mean you know, the participation here, you know, the ethos of Web3. I mean, I feel like this is just resonating really strongly here with me, and I just love that you guys are thinking about that, and you know, inviting, you know, you're reaching out to artists, but you're also inviting them to like really get involved and express their ideas, and I think this is this is where innovation comes from, right? It's this open communication and people being able to say, like, this is what I'm looking for, this is what I want to try and achieve. I don't necessarily have the tools to do it, but together we can make it happen.
Exactly. We are extremely humble in our approach. We know that we will never think of all the potential needs of all the coolest features will not come from us. What we create is not the ultimate platform. We create the ultimate canvas for people to create the ultimate
Mm,
platform.
yeah.
That's the difference. The difference, right? So there are a lot of people in the space that are way smarter and way more innovative than we are. So, and we need them basically to use Buildtree to basically think about these new features and so on.
Great.
That's a philosophy. On the other end, this is around staking. So I don't know if you've ever used Super Rare, but that's a bit different. They do have a staking mechanism. Here,
Yeah.
in our case, yeah, have you used Super Rare?
I have not used it for this purpose that you're talking about here, but I am aware of how that works on a basic level. Yeah.
Okay. So on Super Rare, basically, you can stake their token on almost everything. So you can stake on collectors, you can stake on artists, you can stake on curators, basically almost everything you want. On Buildtree, we have an approach which is around like your community is there to support you. We just want,
Mm,
once again, to create connections. So I've mentioned the connection between artists and developers. Now let's dig a little deeper into the connection between artists and their community. So you are an artist with a community of, let's say, 5,000 followers on X. You announce that you will start working on a really, really big a piece of art in the next few weeks. So people may would like to support you. In that case, you just have to buy a bit of Build token and stake this token on top of you.
mm.
This means that classic thing in staking, they will get a yield. So let's say that you put a 100 build token, you will get one build every day or every week. So the
Sure.
exact ratios are still to be defined, but you will get a yield out of that. Classic thing. But the cool thing is that only 90% of the yield will go back to the stakers. The remaining 10% of the
Oh,
yield will be given to the artist.
great.
So, concrete example, you are the artist, Mongoose. So now that you started working on your project and you will be spending 16 months on your project, you don't sell anything, you don't make money at all during the 16 months. But
Right.
thanks to the support of your community, you may get a passive income. They don't take a risk because they got their staking. And you, because you announce what you're working on, people trust you. They know you will deliver something at the end. So you get this passive income every single day thanks to your community. And at the end, worst case scenario, you never deliver anything and you give up. So your stakers, your community, they will just be disappointed and stop staking. No
Right.
loss, just
Right.
disappointment. Best case scenario, you finally create your brand new collection. It's incredible. Between 2.2 and 5% of the value of the drop will be given back in Build token to your stakers because they trusted you, because they supported you.
Right. Right. Yeah, that seems like a really good circle of interaction here. You know, it encourages participation and encourages supporters. You know, maybe this is what actually SidXO, an artist who has
Mhm.
launched recently a project on Buildtree. I actually collected one of his works, a hat of his, which I should have brought over here and demonstrated. But you know, really cool project. But you know, he's obviously talked to me a little bit about Buildtree, and he was just really excited about this kind of patronage model. You know, to kind of bring back kind of I think what we were really targeting back in 2020, 2021 with, royalties being such a huge hook to bring people into the space, to leverage the blockchain in a way that many artists had not experienced before, and really, recreate this idea of patronage and the support for the arts that it doesn't exist everywhere in the world. Someplace it does. It is kind of like a, it's not like it's an ancient idea, but it's come around in the last couple hundred years for creators of various types to be able to earn on the long term off their work, right?
Mhm.
Um, and that's not always guaranteed. There's not always, going to be that income there. But thinking of these new ways to create revenue streams, to create support models, I mean, this is just really important for us to have these extra layers here, especially when you have certain platforms that are just nixing royalties altogether in favor of market traders or
Yeah.
some other reason, right?
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And what you described is extremely right. We know that we will not be able to change Web3 completely. It doesn't make any sense. If traders don't want to pay royalties, we've seen so many different possibilities or ways to avoid that, but we will not change traders. We cannot tackle all the technical issues due to royalties. So I've mentioned that we will reintroduce passive income, not actual royalties.
Right.
That's just a different way to use the best of DeFi to create a new way of patronage. That's basically it.
Yeah, and I think that's also great too. I think, artists that we've encountered through Whale, so many of them have become fantastic friends or people that I've collected from over the years. I know many of them who, especially those who have stuck around, right, through the
Mhm.
bear and whatever. They're so interested in these other aspects of crypto, DeFi, even meme tokens, and getting people involved in just these like little ways. This is so much easier to get involved in DeFi versus going and doing some sort of leverage borrowing looping system, or other things that you can do in DeFi, very degen things. But this still creates that support system, which I think is fantastic.
Hmm. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the kind words. We've been spending a lot of time and energy on this patronage system, so glad you like it. I think that's basically it for the concept of philosophy. Now,
Yep.
I will propose to show you the actual platform, what
Great.
Buildtree is really all about.
Yeah, please do.
Uh, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Can I put that in? Oop, not exactly what I wanted to do. All
Yeah.
right. All right, here we are.
This works. Here, I'll make it a little bit bigger on our end.
Okay, perfect. So maybe let's start with the studio. Yeah, I can do that in full screen. Okay, perfect. So Buildtree is open to everyone right now. So you just need to basically be on the whitelist. So it's no, sorry, it's not open to everyone. You need to be on the whitelist, but just ping us, tell us exactly what you would like to do, and we will get you a demo, and basically you can access Buildtree within 24 hours. We are not one of these super token, super gated platform where you need to be a rock star to start using Buildtree. It's just about like being an actual artist, and we will get you an access.
Okay.
What I'm showing you right now is the studio. That's basically the backstage. So one of the cool features that I wanted to show you. So sorry, here you have all your different projects, everything you've been working on, and with this color code, you can see that this one is in public minting, this one is draft. I probably have something which is in sold out, maybe not. Oh, I don't have anything sold out. Too bad.
Go to SidXOs. No, sorry.
I don't have access to anyone else backstage, only mine. But yeah, that's a good one. But yeah,
Well, I
basically,
mean, that's a good reason right there too. You don't have access to a lot of other projects. I mean, that's an important point to highlight.
of course, yeah, I don't have access.
Right?
I cannot change anything on this project. But for example, I can duplicate this project that is right now on Sepolia, quite sure. And I tested that everything works fine. Now I can basically duplicate it on any chain I want. In just a click, I
Wow.
can confirm and duplicate and redeploy my project on another chain. That's honestly kind of cool.
How is that working? I mean, are these a special type of token that is omni-chain focused? You know, how is that possible?
As for now, we support Ethereum and almost only EVMs.
Right.
It's quite standard. But once we'll be supporting things like ordinals, Solana, yeah, I cannot guarantee that we'll be able to duplicate drop from Ethereum to ordinals just like that.
Sure, but this is I mean, you guys are going to be clearly working on it. I'm sure many
Yeah.
creators are going to have their ideas on how to do it as well. But
Mhm.
for the larger space, this is obviously an issue that is going to be explored by so many people. So I'm sure it's
Yeah,
coming at some
yeah,
point.
it definitely is.
Yeah.
Just that it's a massive technical challenge, but it's not impossible. Something
Yeah.
that we have in mind and we are starting to explore. I cannot tell you when it will be available, but we are starting to explore is to have one project, one supply available on all the chains you want. If you come from
Hmm.
Solana, you can mint one. If you come from Ordinals, you can mint one. If you come from Ethereum, you can mint one too. So one supply, different chains.
That's great.
That's massive. It's not coming
Yeah.
right away, but that's
Yeah.
something that we are exploring right now.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
So one of the well, let me just guide you through how it works. So we obviously support ERC 721 and 1155. So if you want to create a series, which is basically unique NFTs side by side within the same collection. If you want to create a multi-series, which is like several NFTs, but each of them has a different supply. So you can have one edition, one item with 100 editions, one other item with 1,000 editions, and so on. Open edition, one NFT, unlimited supply. Limited edition, one NFT, limited supply. And 101, I don't think I have to explain what a 101 is.
No, we got
Uh,
that.
you got it? Okay, cool. It's a good foundation. Generative series is a little bit of async out vibe where you can basically combine different layers to create your art, to create new items. You will be able to create your own currency, your own token through Buildtree as well. And something that we already developed in 2018, no kidding, it was called Pixel Chain at that time, which is fully on-chain art, fully
Oh
on-chain
yeah.
NFT.
Yeah, we're very familiar with Pixel Chain here at Whale. I've fooled around with it. You know, I don't consider myself an artist. I might be artistic, but you know, and I know how to create things, and I've got an artistic sense. But I found Pixel Chain was just such a great tool to like get involved and just kind of do something fun. And there was another iteration that came out, PXC 256, or I can't remember
Mhm.
the name
Yeah,
of it,
rings a bell.
right?
I see what you mean. I don't get the name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's escaping me, but I just had fun, and the fact that it's on chain, you know, this is something that I think a lot more people are becoming aware of. We already talked about the idea of your artwork not existing because the JPEG wasn't pinned properly or the GIF file wasn't
Yes.
pinned properly, right?
Mhm.
Um, On-chain art is something entirely different. We were recently talking to an artist here about ordinals and inscriptions and things that are happening on chain here. You know, maybe it's not for everything, but it's a really important concept to
Yeah.
understand and for creators to know that they can go that way if they
Mhm.
need or want to.
It's actually PXC 256. Just got it. And
I
actually,
think
yeah,
I said
that's
that.
you say something like that. Yeah, I wasn't sure, but yeah. And yeah,
A power of two. I knew that. Yeah.
with two brands, we find
Yeah.
it. But actually, it's very interesting to see that it's because of all these issues with non-origin and so on that people realized the technical side of things is really important. You need to
Yeah.
understand where your art is, and it's becoming a massive, massive trend to have your art fully on chain because you don't want that to disappear. That makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and with those generative series, be
Mhm.
also I'm thinking of other platforms which use the blockchain to leverage algorithms or computing power. Would those generative series also be available on chain?
So that's a good one. Actually, the thing is that on-chain NFT is just more or less a way to store your art, not necessarily a kind of collection in itself. So we
Mm,
are rethinking this concept a little bit, where on-chain NFT might not be a type of collection, maybe more a kind of storage, where anything like generative series, one-on-one, limited, and all of them could actually be fully on-chain NFTs.
got it.
And we would like to stick to what we initially created with Pixel Chain, where the whole artwork was stored in the token ID. Something like completely fully on chain, where you don't have any dependency through IPFS or through any off chain asset.
Okay, and maybe related to that, will there be inscription possibility?
Um, yeah, more or less. So, I mean, it's not exactly an inscription. It's a different. It was more like some sort of yeah, it's a PXC 256. So it's not exactly an inscription. Inscriptions are for ordinals.
Yeah, and I guess maybe that ties into this idea of like, on-chain data, storing things in certain parts of the tokens, different token standards that we've seen, like the
Mhm.
6551 backpack, um,
Yeah, that's a
you know,
really cool one. I love it.
yeah. I like that one too. And this isn't going to stop, right? We're going to see new standards come about, or standards that have already existed, and maybe people hadn't really figured out how to leverage them, or even maybe develop for them to
Mhm.
make them useful. I imagine you guys are going to continue to kind of expand this offering to kind of adapt to what emerges.
Yeah, absolutely. This is honestly, as I said, just a canvas.
Yeah.
We know this covers most of the needs, but it's not impossible that with the 6551, that's it, the backpack is 6551.
Yep.
Yep. It's possible that this is something that we'll implement, but depending on how it makes the most sense, it might be a type of project. It might be just a module. That's the kind of things that we'll have to explore. But to be honest, this is more a UX issue than an actual technical issue.
Mm. Well, this sounds like perhaps something some creator out there should be really brainstorming about and getting to you guys to
Yeah.
try and get their ideas in there and get some of that long-term passive revenue.
Absolutely, but so I cannot spoil the news, but we are onboarded a quite influential artist that basically joined the team, and will start basically be part of the brainstorming sessions around the next features that will help us basically grow at different levels. So we are not like just a bunch of tech guys doing tech stuff in our corner. We are working with actual artists every single day. So that's a way for us as well to keep a touch with the ground to ensure
Yeah.
that we are doing something that makes sense.
Real quick, Soup, I know we're at
Yeah.
the hour.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
okay to run longer if you are, but I just wanted to call out, it's up to you.
Yeah. I still have like 15 minutes left, so completely fine.
Fantastic. Let's go for it.
All right. So as I said, we do support a couple of chains, just a couple. So of course, if you're on layer one, the testnet, Sepolia, obviously. If you've heard about Shape, we do have them. We have a partnership with them. So basically you can get, all these different kind of badges that they propose. We support Base, Polygon, 8chain, Optimism, Arbitrum, Blast, Flow, EVM. I'm quite sure that not everyone knows all these chains. Some of them are less famous, but we do have a partnership as well with Flow EVM. So basically, we organized a drop recently um, with them from an artist called Jimmy Greens. It's a really, really cool concept of packs that I strongly recommend you to have a look at. We created this pack feature where you really unzip, you open your pack, and you are able to see what you bought
Hmm.
on Flow. Maybe just 1 second this. Flow, that's a really old OG blockchain from Dapper Labs. So
Yeah.
CryptoKitties, Dapper Labs, for the one that don't know. And Flow was good, but it has not been as successful as expected because it was a
Hmm.
super closed ecosystem. Now we decided to move to something a bit more open, which is an EVM version of Flow. So it means that anyone with a MetaMask wallet can basically access to Flow EVM. So
Yeah.
you have the firepower of Dapper Labs that raised like 800 billions, millions, sorry, 800 millions, with basically the community of EVMs.
Yeah, that's actually very interesting because, Jimmy Grins, really love his artwork. I collected a bunch of the Rarigotchi toys that came out, and I'm always eager for anything to happen with that. But it was so cool to see him, again, continue to build, continue to create for the space, even if one project got stalled, he kept going. And
Mhm.
when I saw this initial announcement that it was being launched on Flow, uh, I was just like, wait, how's like I was just trying to grapple in my head, how am I going to take my Dapper wallet and do all this? Are you guys asking for this information? Am I linking these wallets together like the Pudgy Penguin token drop that
Yeah,
just happened? But then, once I finally delved in, I was like, oh, it's just in my MetaMask. How easy is that? And I need to get
yeah.
Flow over to that, but that's easy, no problem. But that's where NBA Top Shots, right? Whale
Mhm.
Vault is a massive. We are one of the top collectors, if not the top collector of
Only number
NBA
one,
Top
yeah.
Shots, right?
Mhm.
There's lots of other projects that have happened on Flow. It's a very interesting ecosystem.
Yeah.
I don't. It doesn't always appeal to me what's going on there, but um, I even got involved in like a wine collection. There's this cuvee collection on Flow,
Mm.
and it seems very isolated, but now this EVM seems to really help it extend out and
Yeah.
improve what can be done with it. So that's cool that you guys have integrated it. And Ape Chain too, I see. I imagine
So
people are interested in that.
definitely, we have a lot of. I mean, I cannot tell you exactly all the details, but we have a lot of conversations with most of these chains to explore exactly how we can collaborate further. If there is any kind of collaboration, if anything we can propose as well to the artists. Because for some of them, I mean, their goal, and that's a genuine goal, just to attract more communities, more audience. So if we are able to basically incentivize artists to do something there and basically maybe to bring a little bit of the community on one of these chains, I mean, it's a win-win for everyone. So we
Yeah.
will never tell an artist or a collector that he should go on this specific chain. We have a
Mm.
lot of them. As you can see, there is nothing like, hey, go here, number one premium. No, you pick whatever you want. But if we start talking together, I can tell you that we have a partnership with them or this one, but you do your choice.
Yeah. Yeah. Real quick on this,
Yeah.
with all of these different chains,
Mhm.
obviously the native token to these networks is not always going to be Ethereum. How do those fees that you were talking about earlier, that 0.0008, if you remind me, how do the fees work on these different networks? Is it going to be always in Ethereum somehow, and there's a conversion happening? Does the build token actually get leveraged anyway in the fees?
So no, we don't want to put the build token in the way of the collecting process. So
Hmm.
you may go on Buildtree, don't even know that the build token exists. It's completely fine. The build token is for people that really want to be part of the ecosystem. If you
Hmm.
just want to go and collect, you don't need to worry about the build token. But as for now, we support so Ethereum and basically all of them are layer 2. All of them has a version of ETH, one way or another. So for now, the fees are in ETH. Tomorrow, if we have to support Solana, we may have to think about another ways to implement these fees, but maybe in Sol. I don't. Maybe they do have like a wrapped ETH or something, but I don't think
Right.
we'll go this way.
Yeah, I was thinking for like
um,
Avalanche, right? You know, some sort of wrapped token.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure you guys or some other amazing creator out there has an idea on how to solve these problems, right?
We'll go for what is the most user friendly in terms of collecting process. We want that to be really smooth. So if you
Yeah,
need to buy another token, if you need to get anything like a wrapped item in your wallet, it become a mess. So we just want these fees, which is, I mean, sorry, not sorry, but that's our business model. We
sure.
want this to be as smooth as possible, to be part of the gas fees you would have to pay. So, okay, on Sol, you may, or Base, you will not only pay like 1 cent, you will pay 1 cent plus $2 for us to remain alive.
Great.
It's that simple. And we don't hide them. I mean, the fees are written on paper.
Yeah.
So as we are running a little bit out of time, I will go quite fast, but just to basically show you more or less how the interface looks like. Basically, when you arrive there, you are really close to the goal. So you just have to fill the different fields. You have explanations about everything. For the project cover, you can decide how the square version will look like, the vertical, the horizontal, all of that. You have a lot of options. You can split your revenues with other wallets. So it's quite simple. Basically, you just have to put the different wallets you want to share the benefits with. So let's say that I put like, I don't know, let's say vitalik.eth, Vitalik, boss, and I want to give, of course, 50% of this to the boss.
Hmm.
Maybe Vitalik doesn't exist. Of course. So basically, when you add a wallet that exists, you basically add this wallet here, and he has to validate. So you cannot basically announce that you've been working with Pack and Akatao if they don't agree. So they have to validate this collaboration to actually be
Great.
displayed as collaborators.
That's great.
You can decide when your job starts, it ends. You can have a pre-reveal phase with a placeholder. You can obviously limit how many NFTs could be minted, a lot of classic things. The manual mint, I would like to spend just 1 minute on this feature. We allow every artist to decide if it's a blind mint or not. So if we take a concrete example, oh, sorry, let me get back to this one. If we take a concrete example, on, for example, this drop from Rachel, which is elementals, this is a manual mint. So what does it mean? It's quite simple. It means that you can decide what you mint. It's not like completely random. If I want to get one of this, two of this, three of this one, and four of that last one, I can basically mint all of that, and I know
Ah,
what I
great.
will get.
Wow.
So gambling is fun, but art is not only about gambling. So we let the possibility to artists to to propose their art in a gamble way, right? Mint or not.
Yeah. That's really cool. I think these kind of batch type features are often overlooked and
Yeah.
um, really help the experience along. So that's really cool that you guys thought of that.
In the case of the manual mint, so this one, you can basically have the details of every artwork. So you get all the attributes. You can see basically everything you need to do to know the description. All of that can be seen. So you can really navigate through the collection before minting.
Mm.
Um, Another thing that I wanted to mention, so private mint, that's quite classic, nothing super fancy about it. About the upload of the creation of your collection. Two really critical things. First one, we are the first platform to have a limit of 1 gigabyte. if I'm not mistaken, all the other minting platforms propose a limit of 300 megabytes. So if you have a video which is super high quality 4K video, you can upload that and mint it through
Yep.
Buildtree. It works.
Wow. Okay.
And we have this
That is
bug.
important.
Oh, sorry.
We were just talking about that a week ago. So that is definitely something people are still very conscious of, the limits.
And we have the freedom to propose this because as it's a decentralized storage, as we don't cover the fees for the storage, it's the artist's responsibility to do that. But some of the marketplaces we know, we have some concrete figures, used to pay over $500,000 every year in storage fees. It's just not sustainable in current market.
Right.
So this is one. And just to note that we have this manual upload where you have like, if you have like 1, 10, 20 artworks, you can basically upload your art. It's quite simple. If you have like 1,000 artworks with what, let's say, 10,000 meta attributes to implement, you cannot do that manually. It will be a mess. So take the time you need, download basically the template, and you will be able to upload all your art in just one click. You point out the folder you want. You just create a CSV with list of your assets, the attributes, and everything will be uploaded at once. And all the attributes will be automatically implemented. All the metadata from all your NFTs.
Ah, that's great.
And you just have to basically stick to this template, which is quite simple, with the description, the author, and the different attributes you want. And all of that can be done locally and then upload that to Buildtree.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
The one last thing I will mention, and I will not take too much of everyone's time, is just around the storage. As I mentioned, we consider Buildtree as a collapse-proof platform, which means that if you want to host your collection off-chain to start with. It's free, but it's definitely not the way to go. It's not the way we recommend. So if you want to go off-chain with a Google Cloud for your art, okay, you can do it. It's free, but nah. But you can move to IPFS, and we are implementing Arweave right now, whenever you want. And I would like to emphasize this. If you start off-chain, it's no big deal. You can move to IPFS or to Arweave absolutely whenever you want before or after the drop.
Great. So you guys, I just keep hearing accessibility, frictionless experience. This is just clearly got a lot of thought behind it. I really appreciate that.
Thanks. We have spent a lot of, we've been spending about like 150 hours in meetings and calls with artists to refine what Buildtree should look like.
Great. Wow.
So we had a lot of demos, a lot of calls, a lot of feedback and back and forth sessions about a lot of technical UX features, a lot of these things that make a platform not just like it's not just one more random platform. It has been made by people that know what artists need, and we've been talking with them, and we keep talking to them. That's process.
That's and that's what we want to highlight here, right? There is a real plethora of platforms out there, right? And there's so many options for people to choose from, but that doesn't mean that you should choose every one of them or any of them, right? Mm-hmm. What works for your needs, and what are you going to be able to leverage to your advantage, right? For your work, for what you're creating. So that's super important. Oh, Zoop, I think we lost you on audio.
Completely, yes. Sorry, I was on mute. Excuse me.
That's all right.
No, absolutely. No, yeah.
I mean, maybe I just said something really profound. I don't
yeah, I was just like stuck. Oh, I think, yeah, you have a global, overview of what Buildtree is all about. As I said, we are working on a lot of other features. For example, I've not displayed any module because we are working on them right now. We are working
Hmm.
on implementing these other modules. So I'm really excited to tell you that what I've showed you is about like 10% of what Buildtree is about.
Wow.
That's
Okay.
cool. That's the
Wow.
good news.
That is I can't even contemplate that. My mind's not allowing that. Because this is what I from talking to artists in the whale community, from uh, researching it myself, doing a few mints through Buildtree of a couple different projects just to kind of test it out. Um, I see it meshing with whale and our community, with this no code tools, this desire to enable creators to thrive in Web3 without
Mhm.
technical barriers. I think that's um, something that makes sense to us now, but a couple of years ago, I'm not sure people were thinking about that as much, right? Um, it's multi-chain, right? We think of ourselves as an omniversal membership. That applies across the board, right? To have that accessibility to
Mhm.
again find that network that leverages for you. That's super important. Decentralized vision, and this cultural impact. Bringing the top artists and brands. That is something that we're also about, right? We're trying to find these people who are at the maybe they're starting out on their career, but their passion, their skill, whatever, um, they're kind of at the top of their group of people, and we want to elevate digital art and culture as much as possible. And it takes great tools to be able to do that, right?
Mhm.
Great tools, great ideas, and the people behind them to actually make it possible.
And a great community. Once again, we really consider Buildtree as a catalyst. If we are able to be the right catalyst for the art community to expand, to onboard new artists, to let them know that Web3 is not something gross, that Web3 is not something complicated, and that you can basically issue your art in this brand new ecosystem. If you are able to reach out to new audiences and play with this new medium, and the only thing you have to do is just to light up your brain, think about new ways to drop, and we will ensure that you are the best possible conditions and you are in touch with the right guys to cover your needs.
That's awesome. Real quick, I know, yeah, we're over time,
Yeah.
but there were a few questions that came up in our Discord. If you got DM to me, last call for people to tag me if you do have a burning question, but we've answered some of these, so I'm just going to skip ahead here. You mentioned changes. We were talking about how you can't go into somebody's project and make changes, but what's the capability of an artist to go back and say they either made a mistake, they wanted to change something about the mechanic, they wanted to change the artwork? What capability does an artist have to retroactively go back and alter their project?
That's a really good question, and we have a lot of back and forth with artists around that because we strongly recommend to deploy first on Sepolia and to test your drop and that everything works fine as you wanted it on Sepolia, and even that it looks good on Buildtree and it looks good on other places like OpenSea and others, because we don't have control over OpenSea. So if there is
Hmm.
something that OpenSea doesn't support for any reason, it's unfortunately not of our responsibility. So you can change a lot of things after the deployment, except things that are technically impossible because it's encrypted on the blockchain. So, for example, you cannot change the supply, you cannot change the artwork, you cannot change the some of these different things on your art. You can play with the attributes, the metadata, you can change them with our support. It's not on the UX yet, but we consider there's some sort of a contract, tacit contract between the collectors and the artists. If you issue 10 artworks, you will not add 20 more the day after. So you have to stick to your supply. You cannot change your art just like that. So these are things that are set in stone for now. It may change. It's a possibility because we know that some artists would like to change the art depending on certain event or something like that. But for now, you can change the art of the supply.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I'm sure there's plenty of instances where, that's applicable. Somebody else was asking, is build an ERC20?
It will be an ERC20. We have not defined yet on which network we are going to issue the build token. So
That was the follow-up. Thank you.
yeah, I guess.
Along those lines, stakers, we talked a little bit about that loop of how stakers and art collectors kind of tie in together. And do you see that tying into SocialFi at all? There's so many platforms out there right now that also have creator coins, or you can create your own coin tying into that, or it somehow measures your social activity, et cetera, et cetera. Do you see SocialFi becoming a part of Buildtree at all?
So that's a really, really interesting question because as you can see, we will propose to any artist to create his own token. You will be able to create your own ERC20 if you want. But as we consider that it's mandatory to have some sort of a consistent ecosystem. Buildtree cannot be, in our opinion so far, cannot be like 10,000 different ecosystems side by side. It's one ecosystem that brings together artists, crypto enthusiasts, and developers. For that, we basically need one currency, which will be the build token. Of course, we will allow artists to to get paid in their own currency. For example, I'm a hackatao. I want to create the hack, let's say, and I want people only to pay with my hack token to buy my artwork. Why not? This will be a possibility. But for the, let's say, the technical system behind the backstage, we want the build token to be the one resource that will connect all the dots together.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Or, as soon as you said that, an artist, a lot of people are talking about, for better or worse, Pack, right? And you have the Ash token, right? And what can people do with Ash? And it was a token that was intended, I think, to buy art, right? And to kind of continue that for all these tokens that exist out there. And I'm thinking of all these tokens that came out of Roll, right? Various creator tokens, and I don't think that's going to stop, right? We're going to continue to see that. So that's great that you have an extension. And it looks like I just have one last question. And is there AI involved at all in this process? Is there any sort of integration? If so, how?
So yes, we definitely plan to implement AI. So we don't have AI yet in the Buildtree, but at different levels. So we have spent a lot of time during the last summer to think around like where AI would bring the most value. And we really initially were like, do we need AI or not? And one of the options was no, we don't need AI. At the end of the process, we consider that AI could make sense at different levels. The first one was around your go-to-market strategy. For example, you don't know what should be the right pricing, what should be the right supply, things like that. Things where maybe you don't have the answer, but it's quite easy for an AI with just the right data to tell you what is possible. On the other end, if you for example, you have a really super cool concept, you have a really cool idea, you would like to create a community, but you are not an artist yourself. You may need basically the AI to create some art for you. That's something that is extremely easy to implement right now with existing technology. So that's where we see the second implementation of AI. The third one is more around like all your marketing strategy. And it's once again quite easy. If you explain your concept, your vision, you provide your art to the AI, and you like, okay, now could you just help me identify the right keywords? Could you tell me what kind of marketing plan I should do? Once again, there is nothing like a responsibility of the AI. You do whatever you want after that. But you have right keywords. You know that maybe you should join X spaces. You know that maybe you should do some podcast. It's really meant for people that have no knowledge of what is
Yeah.
the playbook. So we just want to give the smallest, most efficient playbook possible to anyone using Buildtree.
Oh, that's a really good point. I mean, we talked earlier about artists who want to come and participate in the space. What is their technical knowledge? What do they have, in regards to the blockchain, right? And minting and NFTs, et cetera, et cetera. But there's that more universal, way beyond Web 2 even, right?
Mhm.
This is just something that's fundamental to the idea of a market
Mhm.
that exists, right? How do you leverage that market? How do you access it? How do you find your audience and tap into
Yeah,
that, et cetera, et cetera? These really basic marketing ideas that so many of us don't know anything about, right?
of course.
Just to be able to leverage that resource and know that that's a way to help improve the success potential or increase
Yeah,
your audience, these things that you can test out and look for. I think that's a really great way
yeah.
to use it.
I've always been impressed and surprised by the skill set that we ask artists to have. You need to
Mm.
be able to produce incredible art, to be an incredible marketer, to create
Yes.
incredible communities, to have technical knowledge. I mean, who in hell is able to have all these skill sets? So that's why we just
Somebody,
want to
a
complement.
marketer, a marketer,
Exactly.
or an administrator, and that's why I am where I am in life. I do have artistic background through music and other, creative craft type stuff that I've explored throughout my life. But,
Mhm.
that's one reason I take joy in doing what I do and helping creators and creative people facilitate their art and try and get beyond that other stuff that can, weigh any of us down, right? So the fact that
Yeah.
you guys are, again, creating that extra bit of frictionless experience for your creators, I really appreciate that.
Yeah, well, thanks. I mean, I'm so humbled when I see them, and if I can help basically artists like doing something, doing their job in the best condition possible. That's
Yeah,
my that's my goal.
great. Well, I'm glad that we could dive into this toolbox that Buildtree is creating for creators. And
Thanks.
it's been a really great conversation, Zoop. And I've dropped some links into the Whale Discord, but maybe just real quick, say where people can find you.
Of course. So, if you have any question or any request, so feel free to go to buildtree.io. You have a quick form if you are not on the whitelist yet. You have a form where you can basically just fill your information, and we will get back to you. Or you can reach out to us on X. And once again, just shoot us a message, and we will ensure that someone get back to you within the next few hours. And personally, you can find me on X, even if I'm not extremely active, I must confess. But yeah, you can find me Gauthier underscore Z on X.
Excellent. All right. Yeah. So, thank you again. Thanks to Buildtree for, sharing this with us and doing all that you do. And thank you to the whale community and everybody else who's joined in. This has been a great, great program, and I'm so happy to be starting off this new year with a new series and looking at all these new tools. So
Yeah.
let's do it. Let's go.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me once again. It's been a pleasure to be there. And yeah, it's a really, really super cool format. So yeah, keep up the amazing work, guys.
Excellent. All right. Signing off. Catch us on the Whale Discord. Catch us on X. And we'll see you guys soon for another episode of Creators Toolbox. Have a great day, everybody.
See ya.